7 teams to enter in the next round have newly expanded European commitment. So has there ever been a better chance recently for an outsider to win this competition? In the last 11 years, it's been won by both Manchester clubs, Chelsea and Liverpool. But maybe Nottingham Forest, who have a special affinity with this competition, and Newcastle, who were in the final 2 years ago, might be casting an eye towards Wembley in March. And certainly Sandro Tonali is just relieved to be back on the grass. Nuno does make clear where his priorities really lie this season by changing virtually his entire team from Saturday's win at Southampton. 6'8" Brazilian goalkeeper Carlos Miguel, signed from Corinthians, is one of 4 Forest players making their debuts. Another is fullback Alex Moreno, who's on loan here for the rest of the season from Aston Villa. Teenager Zach Abbott's home debut comes 2 years after his only other senior game, also in this competition. The only face remaining from the weekend is a familiar one to tonight's opponents. In fact, Newcastle were reluctant to let Elliot Anderson move here last month. There are first appearances for German youth international Eric da Silva Moreira and the Paraguayan international Ramon Sousa, while Jota Silva only appeared late on Saturday. Striker Taiwo Awani makes his first start in a Forest shirt since last February. Another striker, Chris Wood, who terrorised his old club with a hat-trick against them last Boxing Day, is on a bench that also includes teenage midfielder Ben Perry. Eddie Howe has taken a different approach to his opposite number, retaining a core of the 11 that started Sunday's draw with Bournemouth. Nick Pope, who missed the final 2 years ago through suspension, is in from the start of this bid to reach Wembley again. As is Kieran Trippier, who's been the subject of much speculation, but Emil Kraft and Dan Burn remain as centre-halves, with Fabian Schär still suspended. The big news is that Sandro Tonali gets a starting berth after his 10 months on the sidelines for breaching football's betting ban. Alexander Isak keeps his place in the centre of the forward line. Harvey Barnes actually scored the last time he started for Newcastle. And it's a strong bench too, including the new team captain Bruno Guimaraes, a scorer twice when Newcastle won here last February. Well, Newcastle didn't really want to see Elliot Anderson go, but needs must with financial fair play. And what a night for this man, Alan, Sandro Tonali.
You can see the nerves in his face. There'll be some emotion there as well, and he'll just want to get through it playing okay. Doesn't need to do anything spectacular. His fitness won't be 100%, but he's had a few practice games on the training ground.
Well, the players gathering around the centre circle to remember Sven-Göran Eriksson, the former England manager who's died at the age of 76. A colourful reign in charge of the national team. The 5-1 in Germany, the Beckham free kick against Greece. The highlights, the lowlights, the defeat by Brazil in 2002, 2 major tournament losses to Portugal on penalties. He did, of course, have a brief spell in Nottingham as director of football at Notts County, who couldn't really afford him, and a year at Leicester, and he's remembered in the East Midlands tonight. Great figure of management, remembered here at the City Ground. Well, it is 20 years next month since Brian Clough died when this football club became accustomed to punching above their weight in his 18-year reign. And even as they conquered Europe twice, they did have a special bond with this competition, one that they might hope to rekindle by the Trent this evening. Well, there were no Premier League casualties among the 5 who turned out on the first night of the second round matches, but there has to be one here at the City Ground this evening. A much changed Nottingham Forest lineup from the weekend. Lesser changed, but Sandro Tonali has had his first touch, and it's been worked through to Alexander Isak, who tests the goalkeeper, and Willock's there with a follow-up, and inside 18 seconds Newcastle score the first goal. Tonali was at the heart of starting it, but the ball was played through to Willock by Alexander Isak, and that is an incredible start to this Carabao Cup campaign for Newcastle United, and the worst possible start for Forest's debutant goalkeeper.
Yeah, you ask him whether Carlos Miguel could have done better, much better with a shot. Maybe Joe Willock couldn't believe his luck, but Tonali gets them going, and that's a lovely pass by Almiron into the path of the centre forward. And yeah, it comes early to the keeper. If he can't hold it, he should certainly push it away from the danger area. And just how you like him early on for Joe Willock, right in his path.
Well, Joe Willock, he's had such a frustrating time of it lately in his career with Newcastle because of injuries. Hamstring and Achilles issues seemed to dog him last season, but he's off to a flyer here, as are Newcastle, and Forest looking for a way back into it, looking for Awani, who was shepherded out of the way by Emil Kraft. Well, if it goes on like it started, Alan, could be quite a night.
Yeah, it could be, yeah. It could be.
Here's Hall. Now Dan Burn. Here is Kieran Trippier, restored to the Newcastle lineup tonight, a player who had his own issues falling foul of the gambling regulations, himself serving a 10-week ban for bets placed by friends. Here's Awani. And Hall defends there against Moreira. Now Willock. Isak took a tumble, so Willock has to carry it, but he has got Almiron up there with him. Isak has found his feet again, and here is Tonali! And he's denied this time by Miguel.
Yeah, much better from Miguel, came off his line quickly. But the way Newcastle have started, Forest with a debutant seem shell-shocked. They've just got to settle themselves down, otherwise it could get a bit messy for them. But Tonali involved there, and it was only maybe a small part for the goal, but it was that little forward pass into Almiron. Just nicked it through a couple of players, and he settled quickly into this.
Well, there's been no heralding of a hero's return, understandably, by Newcastle, because what happened to Tonali was self-inflicted, but they have been impressed with the way that he has maintained his physical condition while also having psychological help for the issues that led him to the place he found himself in. Isak, played by Omar Deli, and there's Jota Silva. He managed to work the opening here for Alex Moreno. Moreno looking to cut one back across, has got it back to Jota, who's urge to shoot. And Tonali is onto it, but Omabamadele is in control. Well, what a turbulent start for the new Forest goalkeeper. There aren't going to be too many times when you see a player on the pitch who's taller than Dan Burn, but he is at 6'8".
Maybe that's why he got down a little slowly, I don't know, but he did come extremely early in the match, caught him cold.
Here's Dominguez. Jota Silva pulls it across, Arani climbs, but couldn't keep the header down.
Well, it's been a decent reaction from the home team. Yeah, they've conceded another chance up the other end. And this was the fella that might just have enjoyed a dream start had he tucked this one away. He sat at the centre of everything. If he lifts that, he's got himself a goal.
It was the same three players that were involved in the goal: Tonali, Isak and Willock. Just 12 appearances for Newcastle had Tonali before the interruption brought about by that investigation in Italy, which also saw him miss the Euros. Isak on the wrong end of the foul.
Yeah, Omabamadele just came in strongly, just treading down on Isak's left foot.
Well, shock of a start for Nuno. This his first venture into the competition with Nottingham Forest. He's never managed beyond the fourth round of it in his career in England. Here's Almiron. Now Emil Kraft.
Playing with a back five, Forest. Zach Abbott on the left side of the central three, but that's twice now there's been huge gaps through the middle for the goal and through Tonali's chance.
Here's Barnes. Now Isak. Challenged by Nicolas Dominguez. Sam Allison is tonight's match referee. By Willock. Here's Kraft. Almiron, that falls short for Byrne. And Awani is onto it. Thought about having a go himself. Lined up instead towards Jota Silva, and Pope had it taken out of his hands. Real awkward moment that for the goalkeeper. Back from Sosa. Here's Abbott. Now Dominguez. From Anderson. Dominguez again. Switches to Eric da Silva Moreira. And Jota returns it to him. Willock comes in with a challenge. And there are no VAR reviews, of course, in this competition, so the on-field decision always stands.
Yeah, I mean, my first reaction was it wasn't a foul. I think he just gets a toe to it. Willock gets hurt in the process. Pope less than convincing here and trying to claim it. Might have been better off getting 2 fists to it.
I said that Joe Willock, who's scored, has had his issues with injuries of late with Newcastle, and he's injured himself in making that latest challenge.
Don't know if he's tweaked his thigh muscle.
Perfect start for Eddie Howe and for Joe Willock, although this is a concern. It's not the first time he scored in this competition against Nottingham Forest. He did 5 seasons ago in a 5-0 win for Arsenal in the 3rd round.
Yeah, physio doesn't look too optimistic. This was the coming together. Whether it's a dead leg or a pull.
Well, he was certainly alive from the start of this match, Joe Willock. There in the right place when the goalkeeper spilled it.
Yeah, I mean, he always gets in the box, doesn't he, Joe Willock? He's that type of midfielder, and he was on the spot here. Almost gets ahead of it, almost loses his balance a touch. Well, he does.
He's off the field for now. Joe Willock as Forest line up this corner with Ramon Sosa, who's a Paraguayan international colleague of Miguel Almiron. The pair of them were at the Copa America together recently. In fact, Sosa twice came on for Almiron at that tournament. Sosa's kick cleared by Joe Linton, headed away by Almiron, and Barnes felt he'd been fouled but doesn't get any sympathy. It was a reaching challenge back from Sosa, who'd taken the original corner.
Yeah, it looked like Harvey Barnes got there first. They got some pace on the counter, Newcastle, through the likes of Barnes, Isak, Almiron. They've got players that can motor.
Well, the fears over Joe Willock are laid for now. He's back on. Here's Moreira. On by Jota. Awani trying to find a way through, but Kraft quickly closed the space.
Well, certainly look a threat, Forest. Awani normally does cause danger. When he's at it, he can be a real handful.
Moreira with the throw. Taken by Dominguez. Away by Miguel Almiron. One of many Newcastle players about whom there's been speculation in this transfer window. There was talk of a move back to the MLS with Charlotte. There's Willy Bolly. Awani. Moreira. Just held back and Almiron anticipated. Joe Willock still looks like he's labouring.
He's looking sharp, Almiron, isn't he?
A greater concern for moments for Newcastle is Joe Willock, because it looks as though they are going to have to make a change that they wouldn't have wanted to make, and certainly not this early. And isn't this just typical of the way things have been going for Joe Willock on Tyneside lately? The high of that early goal inside the opening 20 seconds of the match, and now an injury that is going to force him back to the sidelines.
Yeah, I mean, you'd hope it's not too serious. Certainly don't want to make it any worse at the start of the long season.
Well, his woes last year restricted him to just 9 starts for Newcastle, and this latest one isn't even going to reach the quarter-hour mark. So Willock, whose goal gave Newcastle their extra early lead, leaves a picture of frustration.
Oh, that expression says it all. So much work in pre-season. It feels like it's all for nothing.
Well, he'd set himself a target of England recognition at the start of a fresh season. But Bruno Guimaraes is on.
It's not a bad replacement at all.
In fact, he was kept in reserve, probably an indication of just how seriously Newcastle are taking this competition. Quick free kick taken there by Kieran Trippier. Joe Linton has found Barnes, who's got Hall moving up on the outside of him. It's Joe Linton he looks to. Hall. Forrest with enough bodies back to defend it. Byrne to Kraft. Nottingham Forest semi-finalists in this competition 2 seasons ago. If things had worked out differently, they might have been playing Newcastle in the final, but they lost over 2 legs to Manchester United. Here's Bruno Guimaraes. Now the returning Tonali.
He's enjoying that.
Byrne. Emil Kraft, who knows all about the suffering with injuries. Got a bad ACL injury in this very competition that ruled him out for over a year. Now Hall. Barnes. Back from Hall.
Newcastle's away form last season was really poor, and it's obviously an area where Eddie Howe wants to improve dramatically. And this is a good night to lay down a marker. They were flat at Bournemouth on Sunday, I thought, got a draw in the end, but certainly didn't hit the heights.
Played through here to Harvey Barnes. He looks for Almiron. And Miguel does enough this time. A powerful hand to it, put it away from danger.
Moving the ball really crisply. Newcastle, that's a beautiful pass through from Tonali. He's showed some really classy touches.
His kick, Joe Linton got up. Yes, Miguel has followed the same pathway as Murillo, although his former colleague at Corinthians isn't in the squad tonight. Here's Sousa. Cleared by Trippier. Newcastle so far this season have had the same results against the same opponents as Nottingham Forest, a draw with Bournemouth, a win against Southampton. There's Trippier. Tonali. Trippier, who captained Newcastle in that final a couple of seasons ago. Still plenty around from then. 9 of the starters, only Loris Karius and Alan Saint-Maximin have left. Now Omar Bamadele. Clearance goes to Tonali.
Poor kick out from the keeper, that.
Guimaraes. Again, a quick free kick taken, this time by Bruno Guimaraes. Trippier. Almiron. Here's Tonali. Hall. This is Barnes. Tonali trying to slide one through. Didn't get his range right for Almiron.
Well, you just see the pictures. Tonali, I think he'd be really pleased with his first 20 minutes.
Forest did react well to going a goal behind as early as they did. Keeper away through to Awani here, but he gets a touch on it, but it's only to Moreira. So they're under pressure from Trippier and then from Almiron as well to win the corner. Swings in the corner, Pope reaches out with a hand. Almiron was looking for a runner ahead of him. Jota Silva, who is known as the Portuguese Grealish, more I think for looks than style of play.
I don't think he's got the calves, but he looks a lively player.
Cross by Awani. Here's Anderson. And again, Elliot Anderson. Moreira. Just cleared by Guimaraes.
No, it's a slightly different shape for Forest. Players who haven't played together much, they're doing okay, but need to backtrack here.
It's Joe Linton who swept that one through for Harvey Barnes. And it is Joe Linton again.
Well, he saw the gap and he connected well enough. Plenty of time to size it up as well. Looking to stay on the park, I thought, in Bournemouth on Sunday, grabbing the keeper around the throat.
Well, if he'd been shown what he should have been shown, perhaps he wouldn't have been playing here tonight. They've already lost Fabian Schär to a suspension. Eddie Howe's side, in an area where they do find themselves short of cover, and in the days that remain of this transfer window, where they probably ideally would like to strengthen. all managers. I'm sure when he'll be pleased when all the uncertainty ends, that he knows what he's got to work with until January at least. Bolly from Jota Silva, and here's Dominguez. Dominguez spreading it out to Alex Moreno. Moreno was being urged to shoot, but lays it off instead to Moreira. Sosa stumbled just as he was about to have a crack, and Anderson it is who sweeps it into the section of fans that used to support him. He is in a sense one of their own, the Whitley Bay boy, who came through at the famed Wallsend Boys Club. Deli. Now Dominguez. Should be bringing it under control, but then losing out to Ramon Sosa. It's back to Jota. And Guimaraes beats him off it. Well, those Forest fans who might have been fearing the worst the way this game started are being much more encouraged by this. Sosa's cross, though, deflects back to Alexander Isak.
They're certainly playing with a nice intensity, the Forest lads. Bit of aggression as well. There's bound to be much more understanding within that Newcastle lineup than there would be in the home one. But at the moment, they're doing okay, Forest. A lot of pressure on the away team.
And you certainly wouldn't have foreseen that happening the way it started, with his team not only conceding the goal but also relying on their goalkeeper to make the save from Tonali.
To give him there.
I had a feeling it might have been a foul throw. It looked as though the linesman was indicating it was a foot over the line. Herrera tight in there, but he emerges with it. Here's Abbott. Gets away from Almiron and finds Moreno. Guimaraes. Here's Hall. And able to connect with Lewis Hall.
Well, they've certainly steadied the ship, Forest. They've done more than that, actually. They're looking the more threatening now. Newcastle have dropped off that early pace, and his team are asking most of the questions.
Abbott, who's playing in his second game for Nottingham Forest tonight, the academy product. Previous one also in this competition. Now Barnes. Sort of sticking with him. He finds Hall. On the reach of Kieran Trippier, and with an ice pack on the left thigh, Joe Willock is back to at least view what's happening, even though he can no longer participate. But he's made the crucial contribution before he left. And now there's another issue for the Newcastle medics to deal with. Problem for Sandro Tonali, blow to the face. Tonali on a mission to repay the trust shown in him by Newcastle. Certainly influential in the start that they made to the game.
He'll be just beginning to get his second win now. It comes to you quickly, your first game back. But his touch hasn't deserted him.
Had to be patient with his second most expensive signing. Started really well, scored on his debut in a 5-1 win over Aston Villa. Signs towards the end of his 12-match run in the team that he was finding life difficult, but who knows what he was thinking at the time about the off-field issues that were about to confront him. Here's Dominguez. Now Moreno. Inside Trippier, but Almiron was there to tidy up. Moreno, who's keeping the pressure up. And Dominguez managed to find a way through. Sandro Tonali is back on the field. This weekend in the Premier League, we kick off with the champions Manchester City at West Ham in our Saturday night football from 5 o'clock. Sunday's action takes us to St James's Park to see Newcastle take on Tottenham. Kick off in the programme at 12:30 on Sky Sports Premier League. It's followed at 3:30 by Manchester United against Liverpool, with that match kicking off at 4. Byrne under pressure here from Awadi. They got away with it.
Yeah, not an easy one to deal with that. Pope couldn't really come.
Dominguez. Back from Moreno, here's Abbott. Now Bolly. Tonali. Here's Joe Linton.
Need to get passing the ball again, Newcastle. They've become a bit passive last 15 minutes.
Tonali does find the ball that Almiron needed. Here's Isak. Well, certainly a baptism of fire for this man, Carlos Miguel. Here's Anderson. Joe Linton. Anderson threads it through to Jota. Herrera's overrun it.
Well, he's got 3 or 4 teammates waiting for the ball into the box. Just need to shift it and cross.
He was playing under the current Brighton manager, Fabian Herzler, at St. Pauli, although he did only make the one senior appearance in their promotion campaign. Shota finds Moreira. Driven against Lewis Hall to earn Forrest the throw-in. Tries to hurl it in, but not the direction that Bolly really wanted it in. Here's Byrne. Kraft. Rice. Left on by Tonali, and just couldn't keep it the right side of the line for Newcastle.
Struggling to get into Nottingham Forest's half, never mind about threatening the goal. Newcastle at the moment. Eddie Howe will be a little concerned the way this first half has panned out after the perfect start.
Now by Dan Byrne. Almiron having to operate in a far deeper area than Newcastle really want to see him, but he's won the free kick.
There's an arm there that he took advantage of. Well, the last 3 meetings of these teams have all been won by the away side. Here's Harvey Barnes. Barnes delivers in an area where no Newcastle player was. Isak. Almiron cuts it back. Barnes looking for some room, which Bolly wasn't prepared to afford him.
Here's Hall. Barnes. Tonali. There's Kieran Trippier, now Tonali. Kraft. Joe Linton. After a bit of spell for Newcastle, he ends up giving it away. And Moreno has set Sousa away.
When you've suffered such bad away form as Newcastle did last season, clean sheets on the road will be really welcome. But this Newcastle defence is having to do a lot of defending.
This was one of the grounds where they won, although twice they lost the lead before finally completing the 3-2 success. Here's Tonali. Hall. Barnes. Now Kraft. Isak. Now when he escapes from Lewis Hall. Pope had judged it right.
Yeah, you wanted that combination either way round, really. I wanted chasing onto it rather than Jota Silva.
It's the first game that Awani has started for Forest since their FA Cup defeat by Manchester United last February. And free kick. Free kick, he'll maybe hope to pick up the pieces. Who swings the kick in. It was a really dangerous one, and Pope had no idea then whether to stick or twist.
No, he didn't. It was an absolute beauty, wasn't it? It was whipped with such pace. Pope just decided to stay on his line. It's one of those. Well, it's close to being offside there, Awani. VAR might have had it, if we'd have had it here.
Yeah, there are no lines to be drawn on tonight, if there had been. Maybe there would have been some questions asked Newcastle had their own VAR escape at the weekend. Kraft. And here goes Sandro Tonali again. Almiron's ball in. Joelinton, it's beyond him. Crossed by Hall, cleared by Bolly. Guimaraes. An appeal for Guimaraes, and he got a sympathetic hearing.
Well, it's one of those that sometimes you get and other times you don't. I'm not sure about that at all. Slight pull back there by Dominguez, but quite often you get away with those.
But it has been pulled back for the free kick, and we're into the 4 minutes additional time in this first half. A half that started so well for Newcastle, but which they haven't really taken full advantage of, particularly in terms of a rookie goalkeeper in this level of football in Europe. Trippier under pressure from Ramon Sosa.
The energy levels of Forest have been first class. Made life really uncomfortable for the Newcastle lads.
Here's Moreira. He's got away from Hall. Shot his cross. Cleared back to him by Dan Burn. Isak up there on his own. Jones just offering some words of wisdom to Eddie Howe.
Yeah, I think he'd be relieved to hear the half-time whistle. Howe.
From the other side, it has been a good recovery from that setback. Here's Elliot Anderson. Here's Dominguez.
Oh, he's just looking for that bit of quality in the final third. Had chances to get good balls into the box, chances that they've passed up.
Here's Omar Bamadeli. Anderson. Well, the very definition of a perfect start for Newcastle, who were a goal up inside the first 20 seconds thanks to Joe Willock making the most of a goalkeeper's spill. Sandro Tonali on his return to the team was involved in that and could have made it too, but Newcastle haven't built on it. Forest have grown into the game with the likes of Jota Silva, and at half-time it is only Nottingham Forest 0, Newcastle 1.